guys, back here with another video. So I think it's time get this Trans Am back together and get it cleaned up first thing. It's sickening to see how dirty and dusty and terrible shape this car is. So it's definitely time. It's been going on 2 years since I've had this thing running. I had the 355 in it. Had the nitrous all hooked up. Nova here. Time for an engine. It's sat way too long. And I'm ready to drive it. It's going to be fun. I'll get this thing out and cleaned up and get this engine ready for it. Alright, so I got the car on the other side of the shop. Got it all wiped down. A lot of the dust and dirt off of it. Here's the engine compartment. I'll pull the headers out. I'll probably run these. This is my FTI converter that I won at the Fall Fling, National Trails. Last year I bought this, or well, I didn't buy it. I ordered this because I won it, but it's never been out of the box. Go ahead and get this all cleaned up. A lot of the wiring there that you see is my nitrous. When I was running nitrous. I'm not going to be running nitrous. I got a turbo engine this time. But a new Pro Systems blow through for the horsepower level that we're looking for is right around $1,600. So for right now, I think I'm just going to put the engine in and we'll go ahead and run it NA. A little bit of the inside here. Tach's got to go back. It stopped working with the battery. B&M stick. Nitrous window switch. AEM air fuel ratio. Water temp. Car has 51,000 miles on it now. I haven't drove it in 2 years. Trans brake button down there. It is trans brake 2-speed power glide. Converter should be right around 5,500, so we're going to be making power. It has a 390 gear BorgWarner 9-bolt. That's the biggest ring gear that they would allow for that case. Supposedly they're stronger than the 10-bolt, so we'll find out. All the suspension's been done, brakes done. I'd like to get the snowflake wheels for it. Just money. So, I'll show you the engine. It's still on the run stand. And we'll start putting this thing in. Alright, so here's the engine. In my previous videos, I got this thing running on the stand here. Like I said, I'm going to do away with the turbo right now. Just run this thing NA. It's a 436 cubic inch with Pro Systems SV1. So it'll be more than enough to get that car moving. Solid roller engine, fully forged. It's time to get this thing in the car. Alright, so I had the cherry picker set up. I know I'm backwards on the engine, but the way that my engine run stand was set up for the front radiator, I can't get it in there, so I twisted the hook so when this thing lifts up it'll turn around the other direction. We'll get it jacked up and get this thing ready to set down in the car. Grab a wrench. There she is, up in the air, ready to go. We'll get things moved around and we'll get it ready to set down in. Alright, we got the engine set down in with a little bit of persuasion. This thing was fighting us on the motor mounts with the long nose. Cherry picker it was hard to get it extended all the way out and back and lined up. So I It's all sat down in. Bell housing bolts are in. Get the headers in, distributor, get the valve covers back on it, carburetor, and be able to raise this thing up, get some exhaust, and get the motor mounts on it, the bolts in it. Get the radiator in, cooler hooked back up, fuel all hooked up. Won't be long, we'll be able to hear this thing run. Alright, I got it set down in here. Been hooking stuff up. I got the distributor in, headers on, tight. Most of the stuff's hooked up. Got a few grounds, a few wires, alternator. So got the evac on there. Figure out what I'm going to do fuel wise. This is a new setup. So we've made a little bit of progress today. We'll continue on, and won't be long, we'll get this thing ready to fire up. Alright, so here we are. I got pretty much everything hooked up. I'm waiting on a fuel fitting, which is a 8AN to 6AN adapter, male to male, so I can hook up this and go over to my fuel regulator there. But it's set down in. Exhaust is all hooked up underneath. Radiator, everything's hooked up, but I do need my top radiator shroud or mount. I misplaced that over the last 2 years of this thing just sitting. So we're actually making progress. I had to switch this fitting here, which went to my turbo. I'm actually running a canister for my vacuum. That was when I didn't have quite a big enough converter. We do run a solid roller, pretty big lift cam, so it does take some vacuum. The brakes weren't very great, so I changed that over. My water temperature sensor I got hooked up yesterday, and then also my oil sensor. Hoping I don't have any leaks. I did mess with the fuel, or the throttle cable, so I don't quite have wide open throttle. I'll deal with that here later, I guess. Other than that, it's taking shape. The fans and everything, they're all hooked up. Power steering pump's hooked up. It might need a little bit of tweaking, but we're really taking shape with this thing. A couple years ago I ended up breaking the door handle off by accident, so I went ahead and picked up a new one a couple years ago, and I still haven't got that on. I went ahead and got this door panel ready to pull off. I'm going to replace the outer window seals. This one's completely gone, so I started taking this apart. She's about ready to fire up. I do have juice now. I'll get my tack sent back. As you can see, it's just a peg there. The battery ran down and it stayed there. So this thing's in serious need of a bath. It's got all tubular lower control arms and panhard bar. All the shocks have been replaced, all the brakes. I do need to replace an axle seal. Big old breather, air filter I'm not going to run 4-inch. I'm not going to have any room as it is without one for my hood, so that's another thing I'm going to be running into an issue. It's up there. My hood over here, actually, I put a scoop on, but I still don't think I'm going to have enough room. We'll figure that out here later. I'll run it without a hood for now if I have to. A lot of rubber on the car. I got to get cleaned up. I'll end up taking this thing to the car wash and I'll buff this car again. It's pretty filthy. But I want to show you the progress that I've made on it so far. I think I'm down to getting that fuel fitting and hooking the fuel up, and this thing should be ready to fire up here soon. Alright guys, so here we are. I got my fuel fitting in. Fuel's all hooked up. Got the battery charger on it. I just use it's an old Champion battery. It's probably only a year or two old anyway. I've not had very good luck with them. Belts are all on. I'm still not sure where my top cover is for my radiator. I'll figure that out or make something. So fuel's all hooked up. The throttle cable it's on top dead center right now. Got the distributor set where it should be pretty close. So I'm hoping this thing will start. This thing's not been running for 2 years, and it was a built 355 I put in it. So this should be pretty fun. Hopefully we can get this thing to start up. I got my fans and my water pump, my fuel pumps all working, so moment of truth. Definitely got plenty of fuel. That's for got to see this thing from start to finish. So next thing is getting this thing cleaned up. And it definitely needs a paint job. I think I'm going to change the exhaust to it. I really don't like it blowing down on the ground. It blows dust everywhere. It's as high as they go. I think I'm just going to run them out the back. So here you have it. Give this video a thumbs up and subscribe. And then also in the comments, what do you think is going to go first, the drive shaft or the rear end? Catch you guys on the next one.